Are groceries eating your paycheck? It may not be inflation, it may be you. Today I want to talk about the top 5 ways that our spending at the grocery store might be eating up your paycheck and draining your budget. And number 3 is one that we almost all make. So with a looming recession kind of in the horizon and these rising inflation costs, which just don't seem to be going back down, you know, there's never been a better time than to talk about how to save money at the grocery store. So today I want to talk about that and see if there's ways that I can help you. I have been working on trying to whittle down my budget for years and years and years. And I have found that it's been a great way to add more money back into my everyday living by cutting out money I'm spending at the grocery store. So let me tell you the top 5 ways. So the first mistake that you can make, and probably one of the biggest ones, is shopping without a list. Now, if you've ever done that, which I know we all have, I have been guilty of it too, but when you shop without a list, you are really subject to trying to figure out what you need, and you're overspending, you're picking up things that maybe you weren't originally looking for. And I think the bigger thing is that you forget the things that you really needed, and so it causes you to go back to the grocery store in the middle of the week. Now, I start making up a list, and I use my notes. I have a little notes section of my iPhone, plus I use a grocery list that I write out every week from my weekly menu. So it gives me an idea. This is what I'm going to be fixing. These are the things that I know I'm going to need at the grocery store, and I use a list every week. I just really work hard at doing that because I don't want to come back on Tuesday because I forgot something. Because what's going to happen is I'll go back on Tuesday for the one thing that I forgot that may cost me $2.50. I may end up spending $20 because all of a sudden it's like, oh, that looks good. That looks good. A simple list can cut your grocery bill by 20%. That's if you do nothing else. So I try to only do my shopping once a week and use a list. The second mistake that people make is buying name brands and not checking the other things first. Now, I've never been brand loyal. I'm loyal to myself and my family and the money I want to keep in my pocket. So most people don't realize, oftentimes when you go to buy a product, the generic is made in the same, warehouse, in the same distribution center, all that kind of stuff. They're the same product. They just have different packaging. The amazing thing about it is if you were to take 2 items and you do a taste comparison of those 2 items, oftentimes you're not going to be able to tell the difference. And I'm going to tell you when it makes the biggest difference being able to use generic products. And that's when you're not buying prepackaged foods. When you're making things from scratch and you're making things yourself and you buy generic products, you're not going to be able to tell a huge difference, if any difference at all. So you might just be giving the store money that you don't really need to be giving them if you're just using name brands. My recommendation is if you've always been a name brand shopper, try some of these other products. Maybe do a few taste comparisons, maybe with cereal or mayonnaise or something like that. I would bet that you'll be surprised how much you're going to like the generic products. The third mistake that people make when they go to the grocery store, and I think this is one that, like I said, number 3, almost none of us really follow it, and that is by not comparing unit prices. So oftentimes you'll see a cheaper product and a more expensive product, and you just assume that one is going to be cheaper than the other. But you know what? Oftentimes they're not. I actually went to the store today and I was looking at the unit prices on the same item. And as you can see from these two things, the unit prices were very different for two different products. So if you look at the unit prices and you start getting used to that, you're going to see a big difference. Also, check the unit price of a generic product compared to a name brand product. I'm certain you'll almost always see that they're going to be less expensive. And that's going to be a huge way to see how you're saving money overall. The fourth mistake that people make is skipping the frozen food section and the canned food section. A lot of people feel like, oh, I have to have everything fresh from that section of the grocery store, whether it be spinach or what have you. But oftentimes what happens is that people shop, they don't plan out their meals for the week. And then what happens? In 4 days, 5 days, your spinach is all wilted and limpy and it gets thrown out. And the amount of food that is thrown out in grocery shopping, especially in the United States, it's alarming. I mean, there's a lot of people going hungry and, food is thrown out because we can't use it. So when you have frozen food and you have canned food, it's another alternative to being able to make your groceries last, make sure you're using them, you're not wasting them. And now I might leave one little thing out though, and forgive me, if you're a gardener, this doesn't really apply to you because your garden is going to be like, the grocery section of your grocery store. You can get all kinds of fresh veggies and things out of your garden. Yesterday, I cut a little bit of kale for a kale salad I'm going to be having in the next day or two. And, I always have fresh lettuce and tomatoes. And even after my garden is gone in the summer, I freeze. I have food that I use all year long. And I couldn't do that if I didn't have a freezer and can a lot of my food. So don't skip that part of the grocery store. They have a lot of things now that they're flash frozen, they're canned fresh. I mean, sometimes I think you're missing out if you're not taking advantage of things that you can keep stocked up in your pantry. And lastly, number 5 on my list is not using apps and cashback products to help with your grocery shopping. That's like leaving money on the table. So there are so many amazing things. You've got, digital coupons. There's coupons you can get in the mail. You can print things out. The apps that you can put on your phone now for the grocery stores that you shop at, almost all of them now will give you a discount. They'll give you what sales are out and about, and you can really enjoy taking advantage of those discounted prices. And I'm telling you, those are some amazing ways to save money at the grocery store. There are also apps where you can physically get money back, or you can get gift cards back that you can apply towards groceries or coffees or what have you, things like Fetch and Ibotta. Now, if you've never used Fetch before or Ibotta, they're very similar in the fact that you take pictures of your receipt or you take pictures of the products. They basically give you points which break down into dollars that you can say, hey, I've hit this many points, give me a Starbucks app. Hey, I hit this many points, send $5 to my checking account. It adds up, and there are so many great ways to save money. I love Fetch, and if I'm at the grocery store and I see a few receipts around my car or what have you, I just pick them up and stick them in my purse. When I head home, I go ahead and snap all of them, and it's great. I mean, it's like I said, it's free money. If you saw $5 sitting on the ground, would you pick it up? Hello. So I'm going to leave a link in my description below. If you're not a Fetch customer and you don't have that app on your phone, I'm going to give you a link to Fetch, and they'll actually give you some points just for joining and using this discount code. And I would suggest putting it on your phone. It's simple, and it only takes a second to earn that extra money. So fix those 5 habits if you want to save money on your groceries every week. It's simpler than you think, and you can do it. You can end up spending a lot less on groceries and more on things that are really meaningful for you. So hit that like button and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I'd love to have you as part of the Homestead Patch family. And I hope that you learned something. If you have any other ideas that help you save money on your grocery bill, please link them in the comments below. This gives ideas for everybody out there that's trying to save money. So thanks for watching today, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.